Hi guys, how are you? Today is going to be a coffee chat. I'm wondering if you ever have this kind of experience. You're trying to write consistently and you've been working on your motivation and your material for a while, but sometimes you have a good day, sometimes you have a bad day. So in today's video, I want to chat about how our minds impact on our writing quality and how that leads to the impact of our creativity. At the end, I'll share with you how I generally deal with this kind of situation and manage it. Yeah, so as I mentioned before, today's video is going to be a coffee chat. I'm having tea right now because I already have 2 coffee this morning. So as usual, since it's a coffee chat, I'm not going to put any insert in this video. It will be just like a visual kind of podcast. You can put me in the background while you're doing chores, and yeah, grab your hot beverage. Let's get our first sip and dive into the topic. I'm drinking blueberry tea, by the way. So as you might already know, I have been doing my consistently writing daily challenge for 100 days, and I'm on my 69th days right now. I've never consistently writing daily in an extensive period of time. I think the maximum I've done was 30 days, and then now 69th day, I'm talking about from Monday to Sunday, 7 days a week. I think throughout this process, I had a lot of surprise discovery about my mind and how it works with my writing practice. It really opened my eyes about writing, and then have a much better understanding about writing as a process, as a creativity activity. So one of the things that I experienced is that my writing comes with good days and then bad days. So on a good day, when I sit down and start writing, I find myself has a very sharp mind. It starts wandering freely towards all different directions. It's almost like my mind going way faster than my pen can go. So I had to write quickly to catch up everything onto the page. On a bad day, I feel most of the time my mind is extremely foggy. I'm trying so hard to focus on one topic and trying to figure out a small part of the story. It's almost like my mind understands what I'm trying to do, but it just not process the information at all. The fogginess kind of almost like a layer of silk blocked my vision, my imagining vision in my head. Let me know if you have similar experience in the comment down below. So I was trying to think writing or any kind of creative activity as downloading. So as if our mind is a very advanced radio that we can download information from the nature, from the universe. It's almost like we are just instrument for the nature to create something, and then our mind is the thing that receive the signal and then transfer the signal into the medium that we're working on. In this case, it's literature or screenplay. On a good day, it feels like this radio or computer functioning really well. It's almost like the day you bought a brand new high-speed computer with full capacity. You just feel very satisfied during the entire writing process. So on a bad day, you feel like you're working with a beat up computer. Either the battery is almost running out, or it's so slow that you can't even move the mouse, the cursor properly. Yeah, that's basically how I felt in my mind. Almost like sometimes I feel my mind's not even really mine, but I'm, as the consciousness is controlling this mind. This is the instrument that I was given, and I need to learn to how to work with it, how to protect it, how to practice with it. I hope that makes sense. So usually a good day, I always write in the morning because that's my best hours, and I'm 100% sure everybody does it differently. Some people have their peak moment in the evening after a long day. Somehow towards the nighttime when everything's dark, the mind start wandering. So I think everybody's computer, this instrument, is a little bit different. There were twice in the 69 days I tried to write in the afternoon. In general, if I have a full 7 to 8 hours sleep, I woke up, I'll feel very sharp in my mind. On the couple of days that I tried to write in the afternoon was because I want to maintain my 7 to 8 hour full sleep. The night before I went to bed a little bit late. I couldn't get up at 2:45, so I decided to basically go to bed and then have my full 8 hour of sleep. And I was curious to see if that will help me still have enough energy to have a good writing session in the afternoon after my day job. But it doesn't work for me. I'm not sure it's because of my energy was drained from the day job, or is because of it's in the afternoon, which is the time my mind feels most foggy. I felt I couldn't move forward on the material that I'm working on. Other times when I'm having a good day are the days that I feel very content with myself. I feel extremely present. But there are days in the morning at my peaking hour, I had a full night of sleep. I still wake up and then not be able to concentrate and still experience the foggy feeling. I think one, it might be because the quality of the sleep wasn't that great. And then second, it could be that maybe that day I'm a little bit more emotional than other days, so I'm less present. Sometimes it happens after a night that I maybe called my family that had a lot of emotional trigger from my parents from the conversation. And some other day maybe just had a bad dream or waking up just feeling dreadful. I'm still in the process of identifying and learning about my emotional triggers. Hopefully the more I discover, the more I identify, bring it to the light, the easier to manage my emotion with my creativity. So after I'm sharing with you my good days and bad day, I want to discuss a little bit why I think this topic is so important and why it's important to identify those days and then to build awareness around it and then to learn to manage it. I find myself in this situation that in general, the quality of my morning writing will set the tone of the day for me. It almost like it dictates my entire mood of the entire day. So everything come after that would not be as pleasant. Even I'm hanging out with friends, or I'm at a day job, or I'm working on YouTube or something else. It's in general not very grounded, and I find myself energy low and mood not so good. And I think that will lead to a lot of self-doubts and anxiety for the future. Not only that, but the subconscious judgment will lead to a lot of thoughts in the head that beating yourself down, and that's the devil for the creativity, in my opinion. I find every single time the mind only works the best when we relax enough, when we're in a good mood. But if you think about it, if you keep beating yourself down day after day, you're going to go a downward spiral in a very bad loop, and setting up the wrong tone for the next day. I have several days in this 69 days of writing, probably a week or so. In that several days, I basically experienced every single day as a bad day of writing, and it just didn't work well for me, and it kills my creativity, and I start becoming not so looking forward to the next day's writing, because today I already know tomorrow is going to be a bad day as well. So in that case, it kind of killed the creativity as well as the motivation. So what we're gonna do about it? In this 69 days, I've been coming in and out of good days and bad days, and I've been experimenting different ways to manage it. And then there are several things I feel it kind of worked for me, and I've been keep using the same strategy to kind of managing the bad days. And I'm going to share with you a little bit how I deal with it, and hopefully it's helpful for you. So I think the first thing you want to do is to basically creating the awareness when you have a writing session, watching your mind. If you're having a bad day of writing, if you feel today is not moving forward as good as you feel like, it's because the topic itself is a little bit difficult for you to understand, to write, to process, or it's because you didn't sleep enough before this, or this is an afternoon, you already had a long day, or is there any emotional trigger or conversation you had with someone that make you feel less than or not good enough, or make you doubting or questioning about your future or the things that you are doing right now? So basically, is there anything happened before the writing session that kind of push you out of your present moment a little bit? It could be as simple as a couple of Instagram posts that you saw. That happened to me as well, and I do not want that happen to me again. So I woke up and I just start scrolling on Instagram and then saw some other filmmakers post, and then that kind of triggered my mind, start thinking about, I'm so behind, I'm not on the right path, am I doing the right thing? Those kind of thoughts. And then usually those thoughts are so settled in the background, even just a tiny bit, it can ruin my writing session. So identify what happened before your writing session. I believe that can help you learn to manage yourself, to set up a pre-writing time period, setting up your mind for success. It's almost like a maintenance period for this radio that you're using to download all the inspirations and all the stories that you want to write on the page. So second, it's not always you are able to identify what happened before your writing session. There are times things just happen in such a subtle way. Triggers, especially our emotional triggers, we can't understand all of them, so we can't identify them fully. In that case, if you had a bad day and then you're already trying to identify it and then you couldn't figure out what's going on, trying to step back to see your mind as a radio, to separate yourself with your mind, to know that this thing is much more complicated than you think, and then maybe there's something going on there that you don't understand. So basically, not taking the result of the writing personal, set a boundary, knowing that you did your part, you sit there, tried your best to write for that hour. Whether or not this complicated mission works, it's not your fault, and you only can identify and do as much as you can. Sometimes when I have a bad day, I try to rewire my mind to think that way. It still feels not as a good day, but gradually I was able to step out of beating myself up and self-pity zone, and then kind of really ask myself, okay, then what can I do today to taking care of this guy right here, this mind? And I would trying to do something to repolish it, and then to basically accepting the bad in order to embrace the good from the future. I hope that makes sense. It's almost like emotion that people always trying to judge and then push the bad emotions away, but at the end of the day, it's just an emotion. There are good ones that we identify as a good one, and there are bad ones that we don't really like, and then we identify them as a bad one. As soon as we fully allow it to be there, we can gradually step out of it and then process it and then move on. So that's what I'm trying to do. If I had a bad day and I couldn't really identify what's the reason, I trust there was a reason caused my mind not working very well on that day, and I try my best to do something to help the mind to relax, to stay calm. Generally helps, some hot drinks helps, or sometimes just relax, watch a movie, or read some novel, or go out for a walk. All of those things, or hang out with friends, all of those things might help. Remember, there will be always good days and bad days, and then that's just the process itself. And then the third thing I would do is, sometimes when I woke up, I already knew that today is not going to be so good. Maybe because I already identified a trigger, or because I'm very attuned with how I'm feeling in the moment, so I know today's writing is not going to go very well, or I didn't sleep enough and I feel messy in my head that I know it's not gonna work as sharp as it can be. When I'm identify days like that, I kind of change my plan a little bit. Instead of working on some very difficult thing, maybe I'm just reading the next chapter of the writing book that I'm using, or I'll just reread things that I wrote for the previous days. Those things are all helps, especially reread your notes. If you don't think you can have a day to really say through and then creating something more, to write down something new, reading the old notes can help the story set into your mind in a better way. Those time is not wasted because it kind of just fade into your mind and then it will work in the background. And I find a lot of days after I've done that, several days later, something kind of start working in the background and help me figure a lot of new stuff out, help me plot the story in a much fluent way. And funny enough, a lot of times when I have a very good writing day, when I have making a lot of progress, it tends to come after several days of bad days. I hope that makes sense. Ultimately, I think what we want to do is to really separate ourselves and then this thing, our mind. Treat it as an object, as a gift nature gave it to us. It's not us. I'm not my brain. That's why I call it my brain. So it's a thing that nature gave to me to use, to receive inspiration, to transfer inspiration onto the page, to write stories. Our job is not writing. Our mind's job is writing. This is a tool that we have, and our job is to learn to master it, to work with it, to have some fun with it, to figure out how can I work with it when it's sharp and fast, and how can I work with it when it's slow and foggy. At the end of the day, I think what we want to learn is to enjoy this process, enjoy the process of creativity, not beating ourselves over the result of the creativity, but really enjoy the good days and the bad days, and discover how complex and yet amazing this tool that nature gave to us, and how it can create and how it needs to be taken care of. Ultimately, we need to have more compassion towards ourselves as a creator, as a writer and artist, and that's the only way we can nourish our creativity. I hope this topic is interesting, and if you like this kind of coffee chat, I'm going to put all the coffee chat playlist right here, and then you can keep watching or listening while you're doing chores. And thank you so much for watching today's video, and be patient, be present, stay creative, take care of yourself. I'll see you next week. Bye. Beep.